Welcome back to another episode of Elephants in the Practice Room. You're here
Elephants
with
in the question.
Sarah and Jaleen, and we are going to talk today about building a sustainable schedule. What do we mean? Jaleen?
Why? So I think we should start of why this counts as an elephant in the practice room.
Okay.
Why is building a schedule? And my reasoning for why building a schedule would be something that's not so talked about is because it's flipping hard and nobody talks about it when you're in college, and nobody talks about it when you're being trained, like when you're training up to teach and to perform, and like what that looks like. And I know that you have your own system. I know I have my own system, but only since, we've been spending all our time together. We've been like performing together. This is our 4th season now. I was mathing that the other day, and can you believe it?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Happy anniversary.
That's good. Right? It is kind of
Yeah,
August
it's
is kind of our
August
anniversary.
is our like anniversary. But I was thinking, when I saw these up here, what does a sustainable schedule feel like? There was no real like professional development class that's like, hey, you need to have a life balance. You need to make sure that these things are blocked off to take care of you, and think about putting in breaks in between students, and as when you're running a studio, a teaching studio. So hopefully if we discuss things like this and these little details in our systems, maybe we'll save somebody else some tears
Love
when
that.
they first get out into teaching. That's about probably what you would think too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just one of those things among a list of 100 that you don't really know you're going to be dealing with when you get out of school. Because I think, especially in today's culture, we are starting to train kids to be busy all the time. I think for me, I was busy in high school, but I think it really turned up a notch, well, probably 5 notches when I got to college, because music went from being this thing that I did, for an hour or two after school and several hours in the weekends, to this just your entire life, right? 12-hour days, 16-hour days. You're supposed to be practicing 4 to 5 hours a day and then attending all these classes and just music, music, music all the time. And there's just so much to do. And how are you supposed to get it all done? Right.
And how are you supposed to get it done well? Not just getting it done, but like hitting these certain standards too, to make everybody else happy, which shouldn't be the case, but it is. It's real life in
Exactly.
the world, music world,
Yeah.
at least.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's become more and more of a problem. And then I think part of what perpetuates the problem is the fact that, you're told, at least I was told by teachers every step of the way, that not just teachers, the institutions tell you and the culture tells you, accept every gig because you never know where that might lead you. Your networking is important, right?
Not even just accept every gig, but sometimes even if you're not getting paid, accept the gig.
Yeah.
Or like there's a theater gig where it's like $50 for the whole run, and they're like 6-hour nights or something. You're like, yay, I get to play a gig, and you're ending up spending money to play that gig, and it's not even awesome music. It doesn't serve your soul.
Right.
But that's the expectation. That's the grind. That's, those are real musicians.
Right.
The ones that are just out working. And
yeah. Well, right. And it's also, like you're saying, kind of a status thing, like if you're working versus you're not, right? And on paper, it could seem like you've really made it. You've got all these gigs filling your calendar. You have all these students. You have all these appointments in orchestras or whatever, or like, jobs. And then you're barely paying your bills. But that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, money
that we're
should be
gonna
a
have.
whole
Money.
yes,
Money is a whole other episode.
Yeah.
And probably like 10 episodes, honestly. We could break that all down way, way more minutely. But So, kind of back to the scheduling. We thought that this was a really good time to be talking about this specifically because we are in that back to school time. People are setting up their schedules for fall. And, those of us that run on the academic calendar, this is usually a bit of a transition time. And so we are here, talking about the good, the bad, the ugly of how this process comes together. So Jaleen just informed me, literally just like 10 minutes
Yeah,
ago. So last week I talked to her and she telling me she had like 17 students, 18 maybe at
I think
max.
about 18. Yeah, give or take.
And
There's a couple that
she
come and
had
go.
kind of whittled down her list a little bit. And I was like, telling her, yeah, go you, like all this like stuff. Not that I'm judging her. I'm not.
Yeah,
But she just now told me that she has 30 students. So let's
yeah,
hear, how did this happen?
yeah. So I'm still working it out, but I think once you kind of hear my reasoning, you'll be like, okay, that makes sense. So a little bit of a backstory before we just get into that,
Sure.
because this is real life, and
Right.
as a professional musician, I have has two musical children who are both teenagers. Now, we're going to bring them in on another episode. I think that's going to be really fun.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
Gabriel is 16 and he's been driving now. And a couple months ago, both kids informed me they're orchestra kids. Gabriel plays violin, Anna plays harp. Sarah's actually Anna's harp teacher. She's wonderful. But you're welcome. So here in Texas, so both my kids are orchestra kids. They informed me a couple months ago they wanted to join marching band. We're in, okay, I know everybody thinks marching band's like huge. It's a big deal. It's really fun. But we're in Texas, and marching band in Texas, they get PE credit. And these kids are out there all the time. And I promise I'm going to get to my point in a minute. So Gabriel got his license, and part of us being okay with him doing the marching band, he's as a violinist, he's doing vibraphone. He's in front ensemble. Part of our okay with him doing this extra stuff, it's a lot of late nights, is he needed to get his license because I'm away a lot at nights. I have
Mm.
gigs, and a lot of times I'm away on weekends, and Ragu's going back and forth for his thing. So Gabriel got his license, so that has freed up so much of my life that I did not
Mm.
realize was being like kind of not hijacked, because I'm a mom and
Hmm.
the only time
Hmm.
I get to really have real conversations with the kids is either at bedtime when I'm in bed reading and then they come in and they're like, well, like about all their day, or when I have them locked in a car and they can't escape, and then we can have real conversations. So I do love and I do miss our car time, but I was in a car for hours every day taking some kid to something
Hmm.
and having to cart that harp to something or drive across town for something. This is part of my schedule change. So now, on top of Gabriel getting his license, our insurance went up.
Mm.
Do you do you know how much insurance is for a teenage boy?
I don't know, but I know it's a lot.
My God, it's so much. It's like
Yeah.
I can't even say it out loud. I can't even say it out loud. Like my face is getting
Mm.
red just thinking about it. So,
Mm.
and that's on top of like all these like other little stupid discounts that we get. Like he
Yeah.
gets his good grades and things. So that went up a lot, like
So
probably almost three times.
you're giving up your money for your time, essentially.
Yes. So, um, I I build my schedule. I've been doing it this way for years, where I block off Mondays as my recovery day,
Mm.
because usually from gigs or weekend, I need a day that's just, for me, personal practice, working on reads, just getting myself set up, because I find my weekends get full with kid things. So Monday's recovery day. I still have that
So,
blocked. I filled up Tuesday,
question,
Wednesday. Yeah.
does your recovery day include things like life things like going to the grocery store, going to doctor appointments, getting your hair done, stuff like this?
So, um, I have refused to get groceries on Mondays because, um, I feel that I do like to cook like a lot on Mondays for the week, and cooking brings me joy.
Nice.
But doctor's appointments, if it's some personal things for myself, I'll put some doctor's appointments there. But it's normally reserved just for personal practice, just for things that I want to do that I feel guilty doing all these other times because I have to be a mom or I have to be a teacher or I have to be a oboe player. So yeah, when I do get monthly massages, it was part
Nice.
of a birthday gift a few years ago from Regu and the kids, and I kind of just booked that. But let's get
It's
back to the new.
great.
Let's stay back on track. Circle back for me, not you. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, I filled with students. And it's a pretty nice spread. And look at this is kind of my color coding. Each
Mm.
different colors, a different location.
Okay, so she's showing
So
me
like
like her days broken down into like color blocks of
color
students.
blocks, yeah. So in Texas, we're really lucky that there's this system set up that professional musicians can go into the schools to teach they're private students. All right. So we go to the students and they give us a space and we operate as independent contractors. So a lot of professional musicians will kind of bounce between two or three schools, or maybe even more than that. But for me, it's just like three. And that's how we kind of fill our days, and then night times are performing. So I had my schedule set and everything was looking great. And then I did a few master classes last week because all the region music came out.
Wait,
And
what is region music? What are you
yep.
talking
So
about?
region music is like for this is I'm talking about middle school right now. The high school region music just came out. So every state has their own version of like all state, right?
Hmm.
And so and I'm from New York and we did a like all county and then you prepare pieces and you go play for judges and you get assessments and up north this operates a little bit differently and if you do well enough you advance to like a larger area and that's called area and then the top players from that area go on to the all state. And so here in Texas, they do an all region because there's so many kids that the region's broken up into different districts.
Hmm.
So for oboes, it was, and I know oboes and strings are winds and strings are always a little bit different, right? So, but we have three etudes that the students have to prepare, usually two fast and a slow, and they work on these for a couple months. Then they go play for judges behind a blank screen, and they draw numbers, and they just get ranked, and the top rank go on to the all region band, which is pretty impressive because in Texas there's so many kids and the level is just really high. And this it's pretty much the same system for high school, only on a much more competitive and a larger scale, and obviously very, very challenging etudes. So last week, it's common practice for instructors and musicians to go in and give master classes on the etudes and or on audition preparation like okay let's think about make sure you have a snack an hour before like a lot of these kids
Hmm.
haven't done
Yeah.
that stuff before or they don't know how to practice
Oh, that's
which is a
great.
whole nother podcast. So last couple weeks I've been doing some master classes on the region etudes for some middle schools that I don't teach in, okay, just some outside schools that happen to be very close to my house. Like
Oh,
I'm
wow.
talking under 10 minutes. Okay.
Amazing.
And I'm not going to name school
Yeah.
names,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah. And so this particular district as well has, I'm just going to say it, they have money. They have money for really good instruments.
Pretty nice.
It's very nice for oboes. Most of the schools around here will require you to rent or buy your own instrument, but because oboes, harps too, bassoons they're so expensive and they're hard to maintain and the school maintains an inventory of instruments to hand out to those students. And I got there and I saw that all of these oboists were on brand new oboes. And I'm like, wow, this is great. Who's your teacher? Like they must have really advocated for some budgeting for this.
Hmm.
And they're like, we don't have a teacher. We
They
don't have a
just
teacher. There's no
bought
teacher.
oboes with
So
no
no,
teacher.
the school, so the director at this program is an oboist, which is why
Okay.
they were able to order real oboe. Like when I say real oboes, like the high end, the nice oboes. Honestly, they're probably a little too high end for some middle schoolers because they're middle schoolers. They bump into stuff, they break stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
Most oboe players are pretty responsible though. So anyway, I'm like, oh, that's so sad. You guys are doing a great job, but they don't have anybody to help them be consistent, and consistency is everything in those
Hmm.
first couple of years. And so, I was just, networking and staying into communication. And for my students, my regular students in my studio, I will always record all the region etudes ahead of time and send them out to them, because a lot of them get a lot of value from listening to the etudes with music in front of them, especially when it comes to learning rhythms.
Hmm.
And so I just went ahead and I sent the directors, said, hey, I know you don't have an oboe teacher. And I wasn't fishing, I wasn't being passive aggressive. I know you don't have an oboe teacher, but I think that your students could benefit from this. Here's the recordings that I made for my students. And the next
Wow.
day, they're like, we sent them out, and all the students loved them. We're so happy. We don't have an oboe teacher. Can you take? I know that you, because I told them. They asked me before. I said I'm full. And I'm like, I'm not taking any more.
Hmm.
And I already have probably 10 more than I would want. But maybe that was old family schedule. We have a
Hmm.
new
Hmm.
system now. So I asked very specific questions, which I want everybody to write down
Mm.
when they are asking about how many students, if you're in Texas, which probably a lot of people who listen to this are in Texas. So the first thing I asked them was, how many exactly?
Hmm.
Because when directors kind of reach out and they're looking for instructors, and instructors, professionals are like, oh yes, it's great, I can, I can take a couple. But when they get to on site, they're like, oh, it's actually like 20. You have like, and then you feel bad because you have to like tell people no, or you end up taking more than you really should be able to handle for your mental health. And so I was like, how many? And she said, there's 5. And I said, when exactly are their band periods? So, as the teachers, we go in during the school, we usually pull the kid from the band period and teach them in, a space that we have devoted for private lessons, a practice room or a library or something. And she kind of laid it out, and she sent a very clear email with a spreadsheet. And I love a spreadsheet of
Hmm.
like, this student is at this time, and she had the time. She didn't even say it's fourth period. She had fourth period, and then
Mm,
she had the
nice.
time under it. So you don't have to go find like the bell schedule and like
Hmm.
compare and like cut and paste. And she said, and this student has a full scholarship with the school, and this student, and they
Mm.
had all the parents like contact info. And I'm like, ooh, this is kind of a person that like
Hmm.
gets the details. Like,
Yeah. So good signs.
yeah, these are all good signs. And, they were very intentional with their language, but also really direct, which I appreciate.
Hmm.
And I said, listen, is there a way that we can fit them all in one day? And I was considering, maybe on Friday, because this school is about 10 minutes from my house. So she worked out a schedule, and she's like, if you start at this time, you'll be done by this time. If we give them like, this person and this person will be 30-minute lessons, and this person can be a 45, and you could take this one during advisory, and then this one could be like a before school. And she's like, then you can get all of them in one day, and you're done before 11:30. And I'm like, wow,
So she really went above and beyond for
she
helping
did.
you figure out the
Yep.
logistics. And also sounds like she heard like your limitations and was
I was
responding in a
really,
positive way.
yeah, I was very clear. I'm like, hey, because her email was, I know that you told me you have a full studio.
Mm.
However, we
Mm.
can't find anybody,
Mm.
and we know that you live close. Is there any way this would work? And so I just asked those direct questions. She put it together, and
Love it.
I did speak with Ragu. I didn't tell the kids; they don't know. I don't see them anymore anyway. Because Gabriel is driving, it really opens up this window for me to take a few more students. And I got to know the students at the master class,
Hmm.
and they're like awesome, you
Yeah.
know? Like, I know we don't really get to pick and choose our students, but you kind of also do. And
Hmm.
it's always great to work with students that like want to work. Like these students are like, no, we want teachers. Like we don't know the things like we want, and they're practicing, but they need a specialist. And that those are the type of people you want to work with.
Sure.
And so you can see a future in that. So I talked to Regu, and he's like, our car insurance just went up,
Mm,
and just taking a couple of these extra students for a few hours on a Friday morning is going to cover the car insurance. And I'm like, I can do that.
yeah.
So,
So it's kind
and
of the perfect timing.
yeah, and they were also very open-ish. I want to be really careful right now with, so here in Texas, a lot of the schools require you to stick to a certain pay scale. As independent contractors, we charge the parents directly, right? The school's really not involved in it at all, other than like providing a location and a student. So, but all the interactions just goes back and forth between the parents and the teacher. And I asked, I'm like, does this school district have a pay scale range? And she said, yes, but at the end of the day, it's between you and the parents. And because you're coming in last minute, like, we know you, we need you, like,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you need to make this happen, because we know that you're going over, you're overflowed.
Hmm.
So I loved that too.
Yeah. So it was like she was
So
showing you that respect that like
exactly, like I know what
we
you're
know you're
worth.
worth it.
We
Yeah,
know
yeah.
what you're worth. And I think because also I just sent those recordings ahead. I'm like, I know your oboists don't have a teacher. Here's recordings for the region music. It's the same region that I teach in with my other
Yeah.
students.
Yeah.
And they really appreciated it. And I was not fishing for more students. So they are going to be shorter lessons in order to fit it in, at least at this point. Most of the time, most all of my original students are on 45-minute lessons. And that's really, really important to me because as an oboist, the first flipping 15, 20 minutes is
Mm,
adjusting reeds, if not adjusting oboes, and that's a whole other thing.
mm-hmm.
When I build these schedules out, and take note of this too, when you build these schedules
Mm-hmm.
out, think of what type of lesson you're thinking about. Like as an oboist, I know the first few minutes are, how's your oboe doing?
Mm-hmm.
Because this is Texas and everything is always changing all the time. And these are school instruments. And how are your reeds? Do you need fresh reeds? And if they need fresh reeds, that's an extra couple minutes adjusting it for that student. And then on top of it, building in breaks in between the students as
Sure.
well. And I didn't do that the first few years. It was like, I just need students. I need students because I need money.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even have like bathroom breaks. Like I didn't have a lunch break.
Oh.
And
So like
you
how many
know,
students would you teach in a row
when I was younger,
back then? Yeah.
I was teaching shorter lessons because I didn't know any better. So I was doing the 23 or the 30-minute lessons to a period, maybe for 6 periods straight. So maybe
Yeah.
10.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And
But 6 hours straight,
that's
that's
not
a
good.
lot.
That's not good. No,
Mm-hmm.
you're cramped, you're sitting, it's like a flight.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody's taking notes now, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's really important to block out time like a real job. Like
Mm-hmm.
I have personal practice blocked out on my Google Calendar. I have my lunch breaks blocked out. And I send
So,
my little color schedule to all the directors too, so they know you're not sitting another student in this block here. It's blank because I need to eat.
right.
It's
Right,
not a
right,
dead
right.
space. It's like if you want me to be a good teacher, I need to have my lunch.
Yeah. So you've
That was a
figured
lot.
it out. You figured it out as far as like scheduling for what works for you.
And what works for my family now too. So
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
the
you
kids
have
are
to keep
older,
all
like
that in
it's
mind.
really about, and I don't teach late at night and I don't teach on the weekends. Every
Mm,
now and then, if it's like an emergency, I'll have a student swing by, but
mm-hmm,
it's usually a student that like I know really well or
mm-hmm,
knows the value I have of my family time, and they'll just come
mm-hmm,
by Saturday morning like my read needs adjusting and I've got this audition coming up, and
mm-hmm.
of course like I'm not a monster, but I'm really protective now.
So,
And I wasn't. I would take everything.
right. So what do you say to that person that says, like, this is all fine and good, Jaleen, good
Yeah.
for you. But then what about the person that just like really needs students right now to build out their income and or teaching experience, right?
Like how to get students? Like,
No,
or,
like how are
okay.
they supposed to like be thoughtful and be cognizant of like their needs if they're like just starting out and trying to take whomever, right? And do it whenever, right?
Right.
Do you have any thoughts on that? I'm
So,
literally just posing this to her. Like I didn't give her any prompts or anything, so it's
right.
okay
Okay.
if you
So
don't have anything right
can you
now.
reframe the question a little bit? Just give me a little bit more.
Yeah.
So somebody like
So
just out of college,
yeah, and this
starting out,
person,
like,
like it's really great. Like you've
what should the
got
priorities be?
yeah, like how do you kind of assess what your needs are? You're in this real great situation currently where you've been here for several years and you have a bit of a reputation for churning out good students and being responsible and showing up,
Just
all the
saying.
things. You're a great teacher and you're known for this now. But then what about somebody who's like just out of school or moving to a new area and really just needs to like establish themselves?
Mm.
Should they, you know, turn down students that are not fitting into their schedule, or should they make an exception?
So, okay. So I would say you need to do your research and you need to reach out to the people that are already doing this stuff in
Mm,
your area. So if you move to a new area, I mean, and like, setting up a studio and like growing a studio and getting students, that's a whole other podcast. And I think you and I would have a lot to add to that because we're actually like really good at it, of the networking. But if you are like just graduating college and you move to a new city, and I've had to move to several places because of my work and for family things. And every time I move, I have to reestablish my studio. So getting the students isn't a problem, but the first thing I do, and maybe this is the performing side as well, is I get in touch with the local symphony oboists.
hmm
And I say, hey, I'm new in town.
hmm
And can I come play for you for consideration of your sub list? And I will either cold call them or I will email them directly. And if I can't find their info, and don't wait for people to give you the info. Like get on Google, go to like symphony websites, find the person's name and see if they have a website. And if they don't, then find the personnel manager and email them directly and say you're new in the area. They will set you up with them. So when you're meeting these players, and the symphony members are usually people that have been established in the area for a long time. A lot of like when I came here, and I'm so grateful, and I'm so grateful that we have a really good network of oboists in this area. But the first conversation I had with some of these local oboists was, "We're so glad." This is what they said to me, and I've never experienced this in another city. Like, "We're so glad you're here. Do you need students? Where do you live?"
Wow.
And so then they would put me in touch with contractors or schools or music schools that have oboists. And then I would reach out to them directly and drop their name, like the
hmm
orchestra's name, like so and so said that, I could connect with you for students. I would have a sense of how many hours you want to work a day already
hmm
in your head.
hmm
And talking to the other teachers, asking what their schedule looks like. What does your schedule look like? Are you teaching before school? Are you teaching after school? Are you teaching on the weekends? Like, how much are you charging?
hmm
And because I would much rather teach longer lessons. I would much rather teach group lessons, actually, because that's
mm
very lucrative. But
Right.
I'd much rather teach longer lessons and have less students than short lessons and have a lot of students because I really care about the quality of my lessons. And
Right.
I really think that these 23-minute lessons are very short. Um, they're better than nothing. They're better than nothing. But talking to the teachers that are already doing the work, what do you suggest? Like,
mm
how is this school with if you need to cancel? Like, how are you setting up your invoices? Are you invoicing for the semester or are you having
mm
paying per lesson?
hmm
And these local professionals are going to say, in this area, parents really like if you charge at the beginning of the month, and here's the most you can charge. There are some areas where you can get away with charging more, and then there are a lot of areas where you can't, and a lot of the kids are on scholarship, and those scholarship kids are probably going to have shorter lessons just from a budgetary standpoint. And the teachers will tell you like you can fit this many students in here, and then you have to put in your drive time to if you're going to another location. Um, they will really they will help you. I know if I had other and I have other oboists come into the area, hey, what what do you think I should do about this? I've got Friday open. I want to grab some more students. Who should I talk to about this? Not to just find the students, but I've got 7:30 open until 4. How many do you think I should put in? And I always say block off time for yourself. That's my biggest. It's just answering your questions. I'm kind of going all over
Yeah.
the place.
No,
Okay.
it is. It is. It's great. I think it's really insightful to already find out what's going
This is
on and
just the
who
teaching
is.
side, not even talking about gigs
Well, and that
or read
actually is the
making.
perfect
Yeah.
segue. I was just going to ask, so you've got all this time devoted to teaching. You said this is how we fill our days here in Texas. And then we go and do the gigs on the nights and the weekends.
Hmm.
So we're talking about how to build a sustainable schedule.
Yeah.
How is this sustainable to be working during the day, during the night, and the weekends?
How is it sustainable to be working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, is
Hmm.
what you're saying?
Yes.
Um, I don't think anybody can give you a real answer about that. I mean, it's sustainable because caffeine exists, right? Like everybody's going to say it's caffeine in the morning and like a glass of wine at night, but I don't drink, so that wouldn't be honest. But I think I mean, I think everybody's going to go through crappy jobs. Everybody's going to like go to a school or have like a crop of students that is, they're still trying to learn their D major skill for like the third month in a row. I think building some terms and conditions into your studio teaching so the parents know what the expectations are. Like, hey, after like 2 warnings, like I reserve the right to break up with a student because they're not doing the work. But that kind of gives you some protection and sets your boundaries from day one.
What I'm kind of more what I'm asking is though,
Yeah.
okay, let's say you've got your 30 students that you
Hmm.
now have on your schedule. How are you now going to move forward this fall? Do you have a ton? Is every weekend booked with gigs? Do you have how many nights a week are you working on gigs?
Right.
Like, what's your
Right.
balance like there?
So I'm doing this new system right now that was recommended to me by a really good friend who's a harp teacher in the area. And I'm changing my invoice setup to
Mm,
a semester-based system. So
okay.
this is going to answer your question directly, I promise. So our school semesters are about 16 weeks. All right. And I am charging for the entire semester of lessons based on 12 lessons. All right. And so essentially that's kind of like 3 lessons a month. So
Mm,
that gives us don't have to teach every week.
right.
I can intentionally block off. So if I've got a gig coming up and it's a really important gig to me, I don't know about you, but like I don't like to teach the day I have a gig. I don't like to teach a couple days before I have a gig, especially if it's like an important performance to
Hmm.
me. Like all of the stuff that you and I do, I would never teach the same day because
Hmm.
essentially it's like playing a recital what we do.
Hmm. Hmm.
So this new semester based kind of teaching model that I'm trying to do gives me that flexibility that I don't have every single day of the week for the entire semester blocked. So I'm actually really looking forward to that. And that's kind of something that
Okay.
I
So
think I've been missing is like intentionally scheduling downtime.
that's great.
Yeah, yeah.
So question
Most gigs
though,
book ahead of time. Yeah,
like, why would you not teach and then play on the same day? Like most gig or a lot of gigs. Why
that's
would
a
you not do that?
whole other podcast, Sarah.
No, it's really not.
So,
It fits in with this topic like really well.
so, okay, if we're talking about stuff that you and I do, I'm just going to say it like we have like really good programs. And they are also very physically demanding programs on my body. All right.
Hmm.
I know on your body too.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I'm really proud of the work that we've done, but they're a lot of times they're like a full recital. So not just the mental component of being in that moment with you musically, being able to give my all on the stage and like leave with nothing in the tank. Just,
Hmm.
those are the best ones is when we just
Hmm.
leave it all out there. And if I teach before that, and like I said earlier, the quality of my lessons with my students really matters to me. And when I'm in lessons with my students, and everybody is a little bit different, everybody has a different teaching style, it really matters that we have connection.
Sure.
And so unlike in college, you see your teacher for 3 to 4 years, all right? 4 years is like the max in undergrad. And in grad school, it's going to be 2 years. But here, we're talking about a studio that's like a minimum of 7 years with a
Mm,
student. It's like, you're with Anna now for like 5 years so far. Like, if something happens to her, she needs you, you're invested in her
right.
success and you're
Sure.
invested when she's like, struggling. And so if I have to see a student, I'm going to show up. And I'm not just going
Hmm.
to show up physically. I'm going to show up, put my phone on silent, and I am there for that hour. And I can't balance both and be able to be present with you on a stage in the way that you need me to if I already have given that much of myself to somebody else that day. So I do like to work out
Mm,
and stretch. I do like to have alone time
mm,
before those gigs. And I do block out that time. And I think for me, it all comes down to that I have to block it.
hmm.
Because if I see empty space on my calendar, ooh, this is a good time to go, get the grocery shopping done
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
reorganize the
Right.
guest room because I've got
Right.
my mom coming in or something like that.
Totally. Totally.
So if I see that blank white space on my calendar, it's going to get filled with something versus, you know,
Yeah. Something that's just for you. Yeah.
yeah,
Or getting
yeah.
you in the better mental state. Yeah.
I know that you also don't like to teach the same day or even sometimes like the day before, like you've got like symphony things or something. Like why we've never talked about this. Why don't you?
I mean,
What's your
it's the same reasoning. When I teach, I try and be kind of high energy. I try and be very, very focused in and present. And essentially it's a lot of emotional energy.
You also teach a lot online too. And I
I
remember
do
during
teach a lot online.
COVID,
Yep.
I felt like all the online teaching
Hmm.
sucked it out of me so much
More.
more than being in person.
Yeah,
And you do a lot of the online
it
teaching,
can
so I
be.
can't imagine like
It
being
can
on the
be
screen and
a
then like
lot.
having
Yeah.
to go play Piazzolla.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's just really just like you only have like, 100 points per day of
That's
emotional
a
and physical energy.
good.
So where are you spending your points? Right? So,
So there's there's the book. Okay, I'm going to say this and it's kind of a swear word, but so there's that book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F Word, right? And that's the same idea as like you only have so many to give during a day, you need to
right.
choose where to spend them. Or not even
Right.
just during a day, but like during a
Right.
life, right?
Right. Exactly.
So
Time
that's just
is,
really applicable.
yeah,
Time is, yeah, important. So
time. Well, and then I mean it's not even entering into the fact that biologically, you're up at, you know, early in the morning to get to these schools. You say you're going to teach a lesson before school. So let's say you start at 8 o'clock even, right? So you're up
right.
by 6:30, and then you're teaching from 8 to whatever, right? You're teaching till the school day's
Yeah.
done, let's say. And
Yeah.
then you're going to go have an hour to grab some food
Well, I have
and
to
then
feed
get
other
to a
people
gig.
too, and I
Right.
have to feed other people.
And then you're going to go like be super dialed in for a gig like
No.
that. And then you're going to get home from the gig at 11 o'clock at night. And then you're going to get up and do it again tomorrow.
And another thing we're not even talking about too is like on the way to the gig, the biggest anxiety I have
Yes.
is getting there,
Yeah. Getting
especially if it's
there,
a gig that I
traffic.
haven't been to and like
Yep.
traffic and like we live in a city, like the traffic. So like from a scheduling standpoint,
Yeah.
see what I did? I bring it back around.
Hmm.
Just bring it
Thank
back
you.
around. Yeah, from a scheduling standpoint, I always, and we all have our personal metrics, but when I'm going to a gig and I get on Google and I see how long it is, I double it plus a half, like 2.5 times. And that's when I leave. And I don't care if I get there stupid early because I can sit in the car and I could, you know, get on TikTok. Who am I? I'm not lying. Or read. I read a lot, but I would rather get there and wait in my
Hmm.
car and
Hmm.
have quiet time by myself than stress about. And that's also one of the reasons why I really love working with you is because
Hmm.
I never have to worry about you being late. You always show up and you're always early. And I really
That's
appreciate
good.
that. I think it's
Okay,
so
awesome.
professional. But
Thank
from
you.
a
You
schedule
too.
standpoint, oh, thanks. Putting that on the calendar is the travel time, either between
Hmm.
schools for students or on the way to a gig, and accounting for always give yourself just so much more time than you need. So what's your personal metric? And as a harpist, you need to get
Yeah,
there even
even
early.
earlier. Right. Yeah. So, my training has always said, you need to get there as a harpist. You need to be there an hour early.
That's when you say get there, you don't mean driving in an hour early. You mean like rolling the harp on stage an hour early, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that was my training that you're there tuning. Let's say the rehearsal is at 7. Then you're going to be there tuning by 6 o'clock, right? That's what
Wow.
I had ingrained growing up. It's good. The point to that is like you need to tune, right? And the old thinking of this is that standard was set before electronic tuners were a thing.
Duh.
So you
Yeah.
had to have quiet and you
So no,
couldn't.
the idea was getting there before everybody else.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
I'm so
So,
sorry.
that has stuck around as sort of like the thing you need to do. Now, it is good, of course, like you just said, like I'd rather be there early and know that, I mean, you never know. You open up your case and you've got some issue with your instrument, you need to fix something.
Knock on all the wood right now, Sarah.
Right.
Knock
Exactly.
on this wood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
knocking on the desk here. Yeah. So, you just never know. And then I don't know about you, but I always have to go to the bathroom before I
Three
sit down
times.
in a room. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
because I drink a lot
Yeah.
of water
You're
and
very hydrated.
I probably
Yes.
had tea on the way for a little boost of caffeine, right? And I need to not feel like I have to pee the entire rehearsal. So, or wait till break, right? So anyway, they're just all these little things. And you build in your routine, right? Your thing that makes you feel really settled and ready to go for the rehearsal. Because you're right. There's nothing worse than like sitting in traffic and watching the clock go by and just being anxious about not getting there and not being settled. So I will say, if it's like an uber important gig and I need to make sure that I make a really good impression, yes, I will be there that hour early. But I've gotten a little more lax, especially now with the age of electronic tuners.
Yeah, but you're very efficient too.
Yeah, I'm efficient. I know what I need to do. I will
You
usually get
also
there.
scope out ahead of
I
time the
do. That's a good
location. You
point.
do
That's a good
recon
point.
to see where
I
you
do.
can load in and load out,
I
and
do
like
do
if
that.
there's an elevator available for you.
That's a great
Yeah.
point because that's another reason to get there uber early if you don't know the situation, especially with the load in for my situation. And then you never know which door would be locked or open and all of that business. And then sometimes, and then sometimes you have to bring the harp in, but then you have to go get another round of gear, right? So it's like
Or
you
your
have to go in and
bench,
out.
like, yeah,
Or,
multiple trips.
or you can't park behind the venue. You have to move your car. Oh, that's a whole other thing, right? Add like another half hour to that to go find parking and all that. So anyway, yeah. So what did you ask about
I was
about
asking like
scheduling for gigs
what did you schedule for time? I have a
and why I
follow-up
don't teach
question.
before? Yeah.
Why you don't teach before? Yeah, because you're stressing about
Usually,
all these things.
usually
Yeah.
because it's like I need to make sure that I'm settled and in a good mood before
So
the
that's
rehearsal.
okay. So that's my follow-up question. And think I probably know how you're going to answer this. I find that, especially when I have really important gigs to me, bigger gigs, that even if my family is going to come, like my kids or my husband, or if I've got extended family in the area that are going to come to see, which I love. I love that they're supportive. I hate it when they ride with me on the way to a gig. I
Mm.
hate it because I feel like I'm stressing about them getting out the door when I'm like, hey, I need to leave at this time. Hey, I need to leave at this time. And they're like, oh my God, it's like 3 hours ahead of or whatever. And then
Yeah.
and then I get defensive and I get protective. I'm like, no, like this is what I need. Or like, oh, we gotta just the talk and like you get this routine of like, I think you listen to John Williams and you're like, that is your like hype up music.
Hype music. Yeah.
Yeah, for
Hmm.
me, like I listen to very specific things. Like I don't
Hmm.
talk. I'm very like I'm breathing and I'm not
Hmm.
I think at this point, like I'm not a super anxious performer, at least anymore.
Hmm.
And I think, working so much with you over these past couple of years is really, but I still get nervous, but I don't like it when people ride with me to
Mm.
gigs. Just because I feel like I'm a jerk to them and I don't want to be mean. Like I just want to be locked in and get this done and then we can like relax but and it's a lot of the anxiety and it's all anxiety. It
Right.
just comes from the travel of
Yeah.
not getting to my gig on time. And I think
Right.
that's like nightmares. Do you have nightmares about that?
Of course I have in the past. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then usually like the night before the gig, if it's an early morning gig for a church or something, it's like you don't
An
sleep
alarm
as
not going
well.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're worried the alarm won't go off or whatever. Totally. We've all had
Does it
those.
bother you when people travel with you to your gig?
It depends on the person.
Of course.
So number one, usually only one person can ride with me because of the harp.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm
So,
sorry.
and
Sorry,
that's
family. It's
right.
harp.
And that's it's very limiting as to who, how many people. And then I will say in the past, I have had people come with me that, yes, very much stress me out. But if I were to have, like, for instance, Matt, my husband, come with me, it's a very different experience because he often will drive. And honestly, that, I mean, I don't think I realized as a younger musician how much effort it takes to drive.
The mental effort and like
Yes.
especially in a city too, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's a lot. Oh, there's certain people who, if other someone else was driving, it would be like kind of a little bit of a control thing too, where it would be like, I'm not the one driving and I'm not, speeding if I need to, or what, whatever. Or like they turned it the wrong place, or like they're gonna cost me a minute or
Oh
what.
my
Oh,
gosh, we're not
yeah,
supposed to park here. The contractor says
right.
like these cones are
Exactly.
for us over here. Yeah.
Right. So whatever. But now I'm in a way better place. I have a partner that's super supportive and super great when I do say, okay, I mean, guys, yeah, I have it made right now. Like honestly, my life was not always like this, not at all. I usually loaded my harp at home myself, but now I have a very, very awesome husband that will say, "What time do you want me to load the harp?" And I say,
What?
and I used to say, "I don't need you to do it. I will do it." And he's like, just let me do it. I'm like, all right, you know what? And part of it was, to be honest, not that I didn't trust him. It's just,
But
I
it's
had
like,
done it for so many years myself.
and
And
if
it
you
was
put it
just
in
like,
the wrong way as well,
yeah,
like there's all these different things. It's
well,
got to be
right.
loaded a
Like
specific
your
way.
way of doing it. And
Yeah.
so there were a couple little things that I like told him, okay, this is how you do this. This is why I want it this way, whatever. And he like caught on and now he's like great harp
It's like
hauler,
his thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen him do stairs with your
Right.
harp, like a lot of
Right.
stairs. Yeah. But
So,
he works out.
he's
So
very
that's great.
capable. Right. He's
He's
very
awesome.
capable. So I will say that I am very, very fortunate to have someone to help
Hmm.
me now. But there were many, many years, I mean, until like the last couple years that I did it all myself. Anyway, and I also know that if he does come to a gig, which is not frequent, but when he does, if I say I need to leave at noon, he will say, okay, and he'll be ready. Like,
Yeah.
honestly,
Yeah.
it's usually me. I need 5 more minutes or
I mean,
whatever,
you also change your clothes like 5 times.
I do. Yes,
You do, but it's
this is
like
a
your thing.
thing. This is a
Yeah.
thing.
And
Yes,
I'm just the total opposite. I just wear the same thing to literally everything
I
because I
know.
don't want the decision. I don't want the decision.
But
So
I think,
I like a uniform.
yeah, yeah, I don't. I like to be
But
able
you're
to
so much more
be.
creative. Yeah, that's
No, I'm not more creative. You're
I
very
mean, you
creative.
actually think about like you coordinate jewelry and things.
I
Like
do.
you always look so put together and I'm just like,
Well, thank you. I think
okay,
part of it is,
black.
but I think
Is
part
there
of that
cat hair
is
on things?
how much of that is though. And I do like to put outfits together because I think it's artistic expression, and it's also like an extension of how you're feeling and how you're going to present
For
yourself,
sure.
perform all the things. But then how much of that is ingrained in me as a harpist? Like you have to look the part, quote. Yeah. That's a whole other topic. I will write that down for
Yeah.
another day.
Yeah.
All right. So,
On that note, I haven't worn heels in years, and I wouldn't
mm,
have ever dreamed of not having heels, like, when I was
no, and
performing in my 20s.
you know what I do? I don't even care anymore. I used to be self-conscious, but I literally wearing the black dress and all the nice
You wear
jewelry, and
your
I
sneakers.
wear my tennis shoes. Yes, I
Yeah.
do. I call
Yeah,
them tennis
she
shoes.
does.
You call them sneakers, whatever.
Yeah, that's a regional thing, right?
I
That's
know.
that's the Midwestern and New
Yeah.
England.
Yeah. So anyway,
Interesting.
so I wear my tennis shoes and I don't put those heels on until I'm sitting down to
You need
play.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not worth it.
Do you
No.
wanna just explain to people why heels are so important to you as a harpist? Just for people
Well,
who don't know your instrument as well as you
right.
do.
Not everyone plays as a harpist in heels, and it's okay. Like, there's lots of different ways to do it. I play in heels because it helps to prop my foot up, my heel up. And so I'm at a more, I have less of an angle for my ankles to move
It's
the
about,
pedals.
like, the leverage, right?
Yeah.
Like, the angle. Mhm.
So the
'Cause she's got
angle
all
is a
those
little
pedals.
nicer
Yeah.
to move the pedals. Yeah. So, a lot of people just play in flats and they're good with it. And honestly, if I could play in tennis shoes, I would. But I mean, I don't know. These days, maybe you could, but if they were black, but who knows? Anyways, old habits die hard is
Mhm.
the answer for that. So, okay,
What
back to
do
the
you
schedule component.
yeah, what I wanna hear just your version, like, what do you consider
A
a
sustainable schedule.
sustainable schedule? And your life looks a lot different. We're so similar,
Yeah.
but we're also very different.
Yeah.
I know you're in the middle of kind of transition right now.
Right.
So, but
A lot
I
of
know that
moving
you have an
parts.
idea of what you want it to look like. So maybe we can discuss, what do you want it to look like and what are you doing to get it
Right.
to
A lot
look
of
that way?
moving parts, a lot of uncertainty right now, and having to trust the process and rely on other people for answers. So that,
That's hard. That's hard for you. That's hard for
yeah,
me.
yeah.
Yeah, because I just
So
want to, like, get it done.
exactly, you want to move forward with your plan of some sort.
Yeah.
So I know that I like performing with Jaleen and I like performing chamber music. I like playing things that I'm interested in and things that I remind me of the reason why I started playing music in the first place. So I'm trying to keep music this really joyful part of my life. And in order to do that, I have to stop playing so many gigs and be a little more thoughtful and discerning, as Jaleen said, about what I accept and don't. And I find that while music is still a passion, I find that wellness in general, particularly for the music community, is a huge passion and fires me up more these days than sitting in an orchestra playing a concert or a rehearsal. And
And that's
so,
okay,
yeah, it's
right?
okay.
That's like,
It's okay. And so, I think that I also think that while I am a strong performer, um, I think I'm a better teacher and I think that I enjoy it more. And so I've decided to devote more of my time to teaching select harp students. And
how do you pick? What is your criteria for accepting a student? Is it a connection thing as well, or is it like, how devoted is the student going to be? Like, just general vibe? You have to have some personal metrics, at least on a subconscious level, when you're being more discerning about receiving students,
well,
right? I don't mean to put you on the spot. I'm just
yeah, no,
sure people want to know what that looks like.
right. So I whittled down my teaching studio through last academic year.
Yeah, you did.
Throughout the year, I whittled it down because I looked at the goals that I had and what was important to me. And one of those goals was building my business, my Studio de Capo, which is promoting community support and,
Mentorship.
mentorship for the music community. And so in order to have time to do that, I had to stop teaching so many students because that's where my time was going. And I just had to be intentional about it. Now, it didn't happen overnight. I didn't fire everybody, you know. I just, as people kind of came to the end of, certain seasons or goals or whatever, I
Mm.
was just like, okay, I think, this is what I need. So part of it was like establishing what my needs were and what my priorities were. And then also like kind of just being brave enough to have some kind of a boundary, and to state my needs. Right.
So I think, to stay on point here right now, I would be really interested to know, like, how did you decide which students to let
Sorry.
go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So
And just, I mean, I don't think I ever asked you like point blank. I mean, full disclosure, like my daughter still studies with
yeah.
Sarah.
Yeah.
Like, so she kept Anna, and I don't think it's because of a bias with us. Like, Anna
Think
works.
No,
But
it's not at all. It's not at all. I mean, Anna, I think that's the key right there is Anna, like other students that I decided to keep on with, is she cares, you know, she doesn't
mm,
take harp like, or she doesn't take her lessons like it's the last thing on her plate. She makes it a
but
priority, and I'm
yeah,
very like understanding when, there's weeks that there isn't practicing happening, or with Anna, actually, that never happens.
that
But
doesn't
like,
happen. No.
but
She'll
if
wake up
it's less,
early. Yeah.
than usual, or if it's like, just not, we didn't quite
Well,
establish,
there's
get to the
testing
goals.
during the week or
Right.
something. Yeah. Like, you're not a
Right.
monster.
No, if we like didn't reach our goals for the week, whatever, like it's life. People are
Hmm.
people, and we all deserve the grace, right? But those students that, you show up and you have the same lesson 6 weeks in a row, and you're just like,
Yeah.
I can't take this anymore,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
That's
I
why I
think,
set up the boundaries about that. So,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
and
Your
exactly. So
studio conditions.
right. You have to, like, it's wise to have a contract even, right? And just setting those expectations early is important. And I think I used to do that really well. And then I think I had gotten a little lax in that and lost sight of kind of like what I was trying to accomplish. And I was kind of like just trying to make the money. And I was like, oh, well, I've risen
I
my,
just need students. I just need students.
well, one of
Yeah.
the things I did to try and weed people out a little bit was he took my rates up, right? And a lot of them still paid it. So it
Yeah.
was like,
And
okay,
you
this
didn't
is
even get any
great.
pushback,
No,
which is a
I
whole other
didn't.
conversation as
Right,
well about raising rates and knowing your worth.
right,
Yes. But I
right. So
remember when that
I,
happened, nobody said shit. Like
right. So
they
I
just,
was surprised that like maybe like one or two people, right? But that
but
was
you
out
also
of
didn't
like
raise it like
20.
a little bit. You
No,
actually raised
no, I
it like
raised
a
it.
she raised it.
Yeah,
Like,
it was quite a bit where it was like you either care about this and it's a thing for you, or you're just like, it's fine, I can let it go, right? So I think now when I accept students right now, because I'm in a very big transition time, I got approached by actually three separate students, and they were all beginners in the schools, and I said
oh,
no
I
to
sent
all of
one to
them.
you, I think the other day. I
Did you?
forgot to tell you. Yeah, I got a phone call and they were asking about Anna studying with you, and I told them your rates, and they're like, "Oh." And I'm like, "She's very good, but I'm not going to speak. I know she's not taking a lot of students because she's very full." I said, "But I'm not going to speak. They already had your number. They were just looking for feedback. I should have texted you afterwards. I'm sorry.
Okay, no
Bad
worries.
friend." But
No worries,
also,
no
like,
worries.
did they reach out? No, they.
I mean, a few people reached out, so we can
Oh,
talk
okay.
later. No one said
Yeah.
they talked to you specifically, but
Oh, okay.
we can talk
Yeah.
about the specifics of person
Sure.
later. But
Did you
anyways,
take any new ones?
I did not take new ones because I'm in a very transition time, and I don't want to, um, I don't want to commit to anything. I can't commit to anything new at this moment, right?
That's
Because I have
so
other
mature.
things going on.
That's so mature. Like
Well, thank you.
15 years ago, you would have just taken
Right. 15
everything
years ago, I would have been like, oh
and
my
just
gosh,
like,
what, somebody wants lessons? Yes. All right. Another whatever
yeah,
per
like
month. Yes.
$10 an hour. Yeah,
No, wouldn't have been that
whatever.
low. Um, but
Okay.
anyways, but one thing I did say, I had one of the people that approached me was an orchestra director. And I said, I'm not accepting new students. However, if you have students that are working toward like the regional or the all-state music, and you want me to come in and do a coaching with them,
Said
and
the same.
this is how much I charge, I'm willing to do that. I can do a coaching for your orchestra concerts, whatever. But I'm not taking students on a weekly basis. So basically, like if a kid's working towards something like some goal, it's like I know they're invested. I know we're not just like,
They have
you know,
buy-in.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So now again, I am in a very privileged position to do this right now. 10 years ago, I was not. I did work for the schools and I taught a lot of students every week and, I couldn't choose. And that's okay. It's really good for building your skills and also knowing how to work with lots of different types of students. There's really good value in that. And it's a great income too. It's a great lifestyle if you are wanting that.
If you love that, right. It's for what it's worth, it is not this is something I love and I'm good at it, but I really love performing. And so, but as a freelancer, those gigs are not reliable. Like I always
Hmm.
have something, but
Hmm.
why can't I just like win a job with an orchestra, right?
Mm.
That's what most people think. It
Well,
doesn't work that way. But
one
the
thing I wanted,
students, the teaching is reliable income. And so
right.
that's why I build out my schedule the way it is and
Well,
keep
one
the
of the
nights
things
free.
I wanted to touch into is you saying that, I asked you the question earlier, like, well, how are you teaching all these students all day and then gigging? I figured out I could not teach all the students all day and then go gig at night. Like
Well, I
I
usually
did
don't.
that.
Right.
Right. I know. But I'm
Yeah.
saying for those people out there that do it, I don't know how you do it because honestly, I remember I played this
I
opera
know a lot
run.
of people who do it.
I know. I remember I played this opera run and it was 5 weeks long. I literally hated my life for 5 weeks. I was
I
just like
remember that. I was
counting
there.
down.
Yeah.
No, no, no. No, this was before you.
This was before
This
because
was before you.
you've had a few
Yep.
extra opera runs
I've
and
done a few more
that are
operas
the same
since
thing.
then.
But I think you
Yeah.
canceled all your students for those runs
Yes.
for that
I
block as well.
canceled
Yeah,
all
I
my
remember that.
students for those days. And that's why, because I knew I don't have the mental, emotional
Yeah.
energy for all day on those days. I just don't. I'm much more of a morning person now. I've realized that as well. But if I have to be on at night, I have to really like be thoughtful about that. And then my whole like circadian rhythm has to change and like all of this. And no, I don't have to. I know I
Yeah.
overanalyze all this, but it messes with you. And to expect yourself to be up at 6 a.m. and to be home at 11 and to have been on for all that time,
Right.
it's not sustainable for
So
a
that's
long
why
period of time.
I'm looking forward to seeing how this new teaching model is going to work
Yeah,
out. Like,
right.
and I know that you kind of switched to that last year too, right?
Hmm.
You did some version of it.
Well, yeah, that's what I had done a long time ago. That's why I say I had lost sight of how I used to do things and I was just
Yeah.
willy-nilly. And then I switched to the more like condensed, oh, I'm not teaching as many lessons per semester. That works pretty well. But then I was honest with myself and I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm not having any time for this other goal that I'm trying to work on. And
Right.
you have to be honest with yourself, right?
Yeah.
So,
So I'm excited about this new model though, because when I get called for a gig, I can just block out that week from teaching, but the students aren't losing necessarily any lessons or any money because I have that built into, I have a buffer built in. So 12 lessons over the whole semester. And so I think it's going to work. I think it's going to work. And I can even, I don't have every weekend booked right now. I don't want every weekend booked because I have two teenagers that are doing band
hmm.
and marching band in Texas. And
Hmm.
once October starts, don't even talk to me
Hmm.
because every weekend is going to be something. And like, I'm not talking about football games, but here in Texas, the bands like compete. They go to these
Sure.
whole weekend things. They take tour buses everywhere. And I'm not going to get that back. I'm
Hmm.
already exhausted just thinking about it, but I'm going to choose them. I'm going to choose them because I can always teach later. I'm always going to be able to play Beethoven. It's going to come up again. I can say no to Bolero. Thank
I
God.
think that kind of hits into another topic, which is you choose different schedules that are right for you in
In
different
your
seasons
stage
of
of
your life.
life.
Yes,
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
seasons of life.
Yeah.
Yep. And
But
that's
like when you
okay.
first graduated, you felt obligated to take all the students and to take all the gigs. And I bet, and again, we can talk about this when we talk about money, but like I took a lot of free gigs. And
Hmm.
like, there's this ballet
Yeah.
company that's doing Nutcracker. Like, we can't pay you, but you get to play Nutcracker.
Right, right, right. And look at
And
all this
it's
exposure.
great exposure. Like, okay, I'm not gonna swear,
No way.
but how insulting is that?
It's
Because we've been
very, yeah.
working since we were single digit years old, right? We didn't just start this in college. And so I just wanted to play. I wanted to make music. I wanted to meet people. But now it's like, I still, you know what? Let's preface it. Let's say this. You and I still do some free gigs, but we do free gigs that we love. So like during holiday times, we'll go play at hospitals. We go play at retirement centers, not just holiday times, but
Right.
a
Yeah, we will do those
memorial
things.
thing. Like we will, because that's music we want to do, or if it's people that we love. And oh, was that me?
No, I did it.
Oh,
I
okay.
did a thumbs up,
Um,
apparently.
so I do still take free gigs, but they're intentional, and I'm really thoughtful with everything I say yes to right now. And I wasn't so much, but also when I was younger, I didn't have kids, and I didn't
Right,
have like my husband was doing his own thing. And so I could just take all the things and without thinking about what's this doing to my body? What's this doing to my
right.
mental health?
Well, I think one big thing I want to definitely just hit it, we've kind of touched on, but just really hammer a little bit is priorities. What are your priorities? What are your, and first of all, you have to assess your values. I mean, that's a whole other topic, but what, what matters to you? What really matters to you, not your teacher, not your other colleagues, not your friends? What matters to you at the end of the day? And are you putting those things into your life first? And then everything else around, or are you putting everything else around it in it, and then the values come in when there's room,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
So really being honest with yourself and then not resenting all the things you're doing, you know?
Yeah. And then you start to resent that you're not getting paid what you should be to pay your bills, like a living wage. I mean, unions are supposed to help with that, and they do, but that's usually for even more established musicians, right? Those protections. And that's, yeah. And it's hard, like getting out of college and being especially if you move cities, you want to take everything, you want to meet people, but you also don't want to set the precedent of, oh, just call this person because they play for free,
Mm-hmm. Of course not. No.
and then so now I'm going to be honest, I've gotten called for a handful of gigs lately, and I have flat out said that's a bit of a drive for me. And
Mm.
for that rate, if you like, because some gigs will pay you mileage,
Right.
some won't. And I'm going to negotiate now. I'm like,
Awesome.
hey,
Love
since
that.
this is over an hour for me, like this is like an hour and a half drive. And it's like the rep would be like big stuff, like
Right.
soloist stuff. I'm going to need at least like $300,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
that's like starting. And
Are you talking about
some
for rehearsal or for the whole thing?
like, it depends what the run is, right? Like I'll say, oh, I can't make that rehearsals. I can't make those rehearsals,
Hmm.
but I can come to the dress rehearsal and the concert and play for that amount of money. That's what that amount
Got
of
it.
money is going to buy you.
Got it.
But it's not going to make those other rehearsals. And this is like, these aren't like little rinky dink
No.
gigs either. So sometimes they'll say like, let me get back to you. And I'll get an email the next day. Good news, we were just cleared to give you mileage on top of it. Like, would you consider,
Awesome.
just something like that. So people who think that you can't negotiate
Mhm.
rates, like based on your schedule, like your time
Yeah.
is money, and like putting it in your gas tank, and like when you're planning your schedule, like you can ask. And they're not gonna, like, we should get some contractors on and talk to them about
Hmm.
things that they wish other performers would know. But I think that there's something that should start to be more common practice that's not talked about.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
when we're putting our monthly and our seasonal schedule together, like,
Hmm.
what are these numbers? Are these numbers enough to sustain me?
Right. Absolutely.
Group
Yeah.
lessons, really efficient for
Yeah.
scheduling.
Definitely. Definitely.
Bang for the buck. Yeah.
Well, essentially, you said the time element, right? So essentially, another good kind of tip I would say when you're building a schedule, period, is yeah,
Excuse me one
your
second. My
cats.
cats are fighting. Stop. All right, sorry. They're going to kill
Essentially,
each other for a second. Okay,
okay.
go. Get downstairs.
So
Go, 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 go.
essentially,
This is real life.
exactly. We can't stop it. It just happens.
Essentially, time.
So essentially, when you're looking at building a schedule, being realistic about how much time is this going to take me? If you schedule yourself a 45-minute lesson, are you going to go over that lesson? Are you going to spend more time with that student? If you think at all you might, then you might as well just plan the hour, right? You might as well know that you can't book another student right after that and you need some pad time. Likewise, when you're going to book a gig, how much time do you need to get there? How much time mentally do you need around that?
I think that is overlooked. And that's why we've gotten to the habit of canceling
Over
lessons the
planning.
day of.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's over planning because again, circling back, our culture ever since college, maybe even earlier, we have been programmed to say yes and to pack as much into the day as possible because we are super people and actually we're not.
So I don't know if you told me this or I was listening to another podcast or something, but I said I had a full studio. I wasn't going to take any more students. And somebody said, well, you can always make room for students, even if you're full for the right price. So if you're already full and what is your extra time and your mental health like worth it? You're not just going to charge your regular rate and take them like, know, you're already stretched. If you're going to be extended past that and you can ask for more money.
Right.
And at the end of the day, you know that, I hope this doesn't sound like mean, but you know, you're holding the cards.
Right.
You know that like,
they need you.
Yes, we're in a good area. There's a lot of good musicians, but you know your worth and you know you're a good teacher.
That's
you
true.
know you're a good performer. So you could ask for more money. Like for the right price, you can fit more students in. Right?
I agree with that. However, I think that's a slippery slope because let's just say I've thought that about gigs. I've thought, well, I don't want to play this. I don't want to learn this part, whatever. I'm going to quote them a stupid high price and they're going to say no. Well, just know that they might say yes. And
they might say yes, and we've done that.
And if they do, you have to not have a crappy attitude about it.
Exactly,
right?
Because they're paying for a professional.
But you also have to be realistic and know that maybe you can teach that extra student once a month. Maybe you can teach them every other week. Maybe you can tell them, I can give you a 30-minute lesson, but not an hour, whatever. But ultimately, you can't teach indefinitely, even if you do have that higher price.
It's not because sustainable.
Yes, right. Because sustainable, your body and your mind just can't sustain it long term.
And I think that loops back to what you were saying sorry, this is Friday, man.
Yeah.
Earlier about your priorities and putting yourself first.
Yeah.
And investing in your future self. So like there's this meme and this like fits me so well. It's probably not you because you eat so healthily, but it's like it's somebody who's opening up a salad at like a late lunchtime, like 1 p.m. And then the caption was like, like morning me didn't know that afternoon me was not going to want a salad, but a cheeseburger, right? Like it looks like weekend grocery shopping was not the Thursday, Friday person. Like I don't want a salad right now. I want, a burger. But it kind of applies like this, like right now when we're building our schedules. Yeah. We're fired up. We're like, yeah, I'm refreshed from summer break and like, let me go make all the money. I'm going to be the best teacher ever. Let me load up all these things and all these gigs. But when October hits, you're going to want to sleep in. Yeah. You're going to want to break. You're going to want to like wish that, we should revisit this in October and say, so Jaleen, how's your life looking right now? How you doing? Right. Well, I remember one quick thing, and it kind of dovetails with what you're doing with the fewer lessons per semester, which is great. But I remember, I think just a couple years ago, I intentionally took the last week of every month off, and I made sure it wasn't. Okay, how did that work for you? It was great. I mean, it didn't always. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Yeah, it didn't always super align because I would have a kid here and there who had had this really important thing, whatever. So I teach like 1 or 2 kids that week. But like on the whole, yes, it was good. It was helpful for sure. Okay. that's kind of how I was imagining it. And it kind of aligns with the gigs I already have lined up. But that's kind of what because I was looking back at my habits. And I'm just going to be honest, there are times every semester I will take off a few days. And I will be honest with the kids, and by the kids, that's students or the directors. And I always let the directors know. Always communicate with your people. Hey, I'm canceling lessons today. I just need to stay home and I need a sensory break. And every single director is like, gotcha, take care of yourself. Because it's like, I mean, I'm losing money. It's money out of my pocket, right? When I wasn't teaching lesson to lesson, when I was teaching lesson to lesson. But it was about every 6 weeks. I would go 6 weeks and then I would kind of like crash and then take a couple days and just be on a couch, like not making reads, not getting groceries, not doing shit. Sorry, but just taking
No,
real
totally
time off.
understand
And
that.
then I was like, could go back. And so now, because, of your influence with this semester system, I don't have to feel bad about like planning, hey, this week there's not going to be lessons. This is a reset, this is a reset break.
I mean, honestly,
And
how
the
many
kids are
kids
fine.
really, right? How many of them really need a lesson
And
every week?
that is another thing I'm learning too. Like, I think I care. I mean, my kids care. Like, I have a really good crop of oboists right now. And I love that they care. But if I canceled and I'm like, hey guys, I got a lot on my plate right now. I need to take a day off. Every single one would say, go take care of yourself. We love you. Don't worry about
Right,
it. We'll got it. We'll see you next week.
right. I
Let
understand
me know.
because you're
And
really there for them.
But like, did you ever have a teacher say, "Hey, I'm taking a day off
No,
because I need like a
no, of
sensory break"?
course not.
No. No,
Yeah,
they would show up and
course
they would
not.
just be grumpy.
Yeah, totally.
And they would be like burnt out and grumpy. And like I don't want to be that way. I don't want to and then I'm not good for my family.
Right, right. It just permeates
I
into
want to be
every
able to
part of
show
your
up for
life,
them.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah. So I'll let you know how that goes though. But I was thinking the end of the month.
Smart.
Yeah.
All right. Well, any other last minute tips you want to throw in here for sustainable scheduling habits?
Sustainable scheduling. Oh, I use a software to help.
Okay. Love
Use
that.
my, I don't get any props for
Hmm.
sharing this information, but um I use a software called My Music Staff,
Hmm.
and does everything for the performing
Hmm.
like musician and educator, and I can put all my students and I can email them directly and invoice them directly, but I can also add all my gigs to the schedule too.
Excellent.
And when tax time comes, I can like make up a studio report as in like, here's how much I made in lessons, here's how much I made in reads, because
Hmm.
we sell reads to the students. Here's how much I made in gigs. Here's what the mileage was because the flipping mileage when I do my taxes, right?
Mm.
So that's been really helpful for scheduling and keeping everything organized. And it syncs to my Google Calendar as well.
Mm.
So I have
Nice.
the My Music stuff when I'm teaching or gigs, but are my main calendar, and then my family can see, oh, mom's blocked this off because she's going out of town for this performance or whatever. So scheduling, and I think it's like $12 a month or something, but that's again, I don't work for them,
Yeah, it's
but
pretty reasonable.
I've been using it for maybe about 5 years now, and it's been very consistent. And I think that was something I didn't know I needed. And I think everybody's got their own system. Like I used to have a big calendar, paper calendar, right? A planner. Um, and I liked all the cutesy ones and the design ones. And then I started the software and using more, but I would use both. And now for the
Hmm.
most part, I'm just digital. And I
Nice.
like that because I carry so much stuff around all the time
Yes. Right.
and then when I flip to my iPad too for most of my music, I still feel like I'm carrying bricks every day, but
I know.
it's a lot less. It's not like carrying a harp. So,
This is true.
those are tips and tricks. Put
That's a
yourself
good one.
first, block off
Yeah.
time, use software, find tools, talk to people,
Talk to people. Yeah. All good.
that in the area.
All good tips for sure. Awesome.
Cool. All right.
All
Good
right.
talk.
Good chat.